In a world where Disney controls everything and the major franchises are all kid friendly, one man has the desire to give you a mediocre feeling. His name is Zack Snyder.
Nice. Wait, is DC owned by
I love it.
Disney as well?
No.
No.
Disney is a
Oh.
Warner Brothers property.
Oh, so he's on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as much as can the Warner Brothers be called outside of it? I mean, there's still a giant media conglomerate,
Yeah, like probably compared to Disney, they're an indie now.
Yeah, Warner Brothers, the little guy. So I guess we'll just what we're gonna do is this is kind of like an offshoot of Outrage Factory. It's not like in the main episode. So what we're gonna do is have like a little discussion, and then we'll just throw this in the feed or whatever. So if you're listening to this and you're like, "What the fuck is this? I didn't hear that sweet intro music," or "Dale say hello, internet," we're just gonna do this as kind of like a discussion with what we think the DC entertainment universe has to do going forward with their movies to appeal to a larger audience.
Yeah, Hubris Factory for uneducated white nerds spouting off about what a major movie
I don't like
franchise
niche audience stuff. It's one stuff I like. I don't care about everybody else.
Just make it for me.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what they should be aiming at anyway, is uneducated white nerds?
I mean, yeah, that's probably the
35 to 50-year-old men.
Yeah. There you go.
The coveted demographic.
Yeah.
Pretty much at this point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this was Marty's idea, and he's not even here, but it was all because we were talking about, I guess everybody's been talking about the Snyder Cut, except for Derek, who didn't watch it.
Did not. Also didn't see the original cut. So
there you go.
I have not seen the Justice
sure.
League yet.
Yeah. So so basically we're all just talking about the Snyder Cut, how it was awesome. Well, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
The only people I've heard say anything bad about it was critics who it felt like they wanted to hate it going into it, so they kind of nitpicked at stuff. Like, I don't feel like a lot of people hated the 4-hour mark, which I guess they haven't been streaming hours and hours of TV lately during the pandemic like I have.
Infinity War, which was 9 hours long.
Sorry?
Or watched Infinity War, which was 9 hours.
Altogether, yeah.
Oh my
Split
goodness.
across four movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was a miniseries cut up in 6 pieces. If you sat through the whole thing, then it was a 4-hour movie. But
yeah, that's true. Like, he was decent enough to have like title cards and say part 1, part 2, so you could cut it up. I watched it in 2 sittings. What did you guys do?
2 for me.
Yeah, 2. I watched the first part, went to bed, and then watched the rest
Yeah.
the next day.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, same here. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like Zack Snyder is essentially like, to whoever made the point about critics just wanting to hate it. Like, Zack Snyder's the Michael Bay of superhero movies, right? Like, is that like basically he's just like the cheesy, over the top, like everything he does is almost like comes in the door with critics. He's not exactly a critical darling, so to say.
DC takes a lot of shit too, no matter who does it. Marvel can't do any wrong, and everybody just right on top of DC, whether it's good or not.
Yeah, there's no better example of that than WandaVision, which turned out awesome. But the first 2 episodes, if that wasn't Marvel, I don't think nearly as many people would have gave it the leeway to keep going.
I think how those, and we can talk about this on whatever MCU episode we do, which I will be much better versed in. But like the twist from like WandaVision is like, well, I won't give it away just in case our listeners have not seen it, in which case, why are you listening to a nerd podcast with 4?
Let's save all our spoilers for DC movies for this episode.
But like the twist from like, it was this just like this this kind of like straight man like take on old sitcoms starring MCU characters, and what it eventually became made those early episodes when you just were kind of like scratching your head and being like, well, what the fuck is this? All the more impressive that they played it the way that they did, knowing what the show was eventually going to become, and taking that risk that, like, yeah, you might hemorrhage viewers, and people were going to just be baffled and confused through the first couple episodes in order to set up those later ones.
I seem to know exactly where it was going. I just didn't care and turned it off.
Right.
The laugh
Yeah.
track and the terrible pantomime just killed me. No thanks.
Yeah.
And then I've got friends that loved everything up till the last episode when it went into a big action scene. They're like, that ruined it for us. So
That's the best part. I mean, I'm an action junkie. Like, I guess when it comes to like nerd movies and stuff, I'm still kind of a bro at heart. Like, I'm the guy who loves all the special effects and the big action sequences. Like, that's another reason why I like Snyder Cut, is because all the fight scenes were extended and he just like put more CGI and stuff into it.
Well, so Snyder's had problems since the get-go, right? Like, so he was the Man of Steel guy. He wanted to create that dark universe. That whole dark universe was reactionary to the stuff Marvel was putting out. So what you have is this anxious, rambunctious effort to play catch up, to get all these movies going so they can get the Justice League cinematic universe. And, you know, Warner Brothers doesn't really know what they're doing. As you know, and they were stumbling over themselves. Zack Snyder did a great job with 300, with Watchmen. But
I want to say I fucking loved Watchmen. Like,
Yeah.
I loved the rendition.
However, it was not well received. Even though I really enjoy the Watchmen movie, it was not well received. And there's a lot of criticism he suffered from it. But everything that he did right in the Watchmen, you see coming forward in his other films. So you have, of course, Man of Steel, you have Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, and then you have subsequently Justice League and the Snyder Cut. I had huge problems with Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. And in fact, I was so angry when I left that, like, I spent the next 2 hours writing out how I would have done it. And I made a video about that. But I was just furious about the way that turned out. And so when Justice League came out, I was done with Zack Snyder. But then I heard, of course, that he didn't finish the first cut, that subsequently Joss Whedon, who had done Avengers 1 and 2, came in and finished the first cut of Justice League to make it more jokey, more colorful. All the saturation was dialed up to 11. And you know, eventually people, as we know, called for the Snyder Cut, and then we got this 4-hour monstrosity. So was it good, I guess, is the first point. Was it worth the wait, the extra $70 million? Was it worth the $400 million that it was spent between the two films? I don't know.
I think people make the mistake of wanting superhero movies to be good. They're superhero movies. They're just forgettable, fun. When they're done, they're done. Who cares? I don't know. Like, I enjoy Aquaman. Thought it was super fun. Everything. Is it a good movie? Who cares?
Yeah, Aquaman.
Wonder
was
Woman,
pretty
I really
cheesy.
enjoyed. I don't care if it's good or not, or who cares. Like, some people say it's the exact same movie as Black Panther, which pretty much is. I'm not sure which one came out first anymore, but
Yeah, I think Black Panther came out because Aquaman didn't come out till
no,
2019.
Wonder Woman and Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. I just want to go back to Wes's thing, or what Wes was saying about the Snyder trying to make these movies to pretty much ape the MCU. And I had read today that Josh Whedon, when he came in to recut the JLA, he was trying to kind of cash in on the MCU.
That was more what I thought with it too.
Yeah, their winning and stuff, and that's why he dialed up all the colors and he added more jokes and stuff. So it's funny because it's like you have two different directors both trying to do what MCU did, but they both take it in a different direction. Like, I think one of the problems that Snyder's had the problem is he's still in the shadow of the Christian Bale Batman trilogy.
Oh, no doubt.
That movie, the 1 and 2, not so much the third one, but the 1 and 2, like, they were, the second one, Dark Knight Rising, I think for a bit was the highest grossing movie of all time until it was beaten by Avengers, I think. Or was it still Avatar? that point. Anyways, it was like in the plus $1 billion mark, and then everybody loved it, and it had Christian Bale, it had Heath Ledger. So, and that movie was dark. Like there was very little comedy, and it was all drab, and because it's Batman, so it was all black. So Snyder comes in, and he has to like kind of get going with the to kind of
Rebooting Superman.
try to win fans away from the Avengers, and like I'm trying to think. When this came out, was this in between Avengers and Avengers Endgame? What was the second last one called?
Infinity War?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did JLA come in between those two?
I thought it was before both.
Yeah, I thought it was before.
Oh, okay, yeah. That might be. But yeah,
yeah.
like so
The
yeah, and then
Superman movie he did though, like Superman is hard to get a win with. Like people
Yeah.
are like he's got 80 plus years of history.
Mhm.
You're not going to make everybody happy. It's impossible. There's stuff in that movie people hated. I didn't really understand why people hated it. They had people flying on dragons on Krypton, sweet. I didn't think the Superman stuff was terrible, other than his dad was kind of lame. But other than that, I don't really get the hate.
I don't think
But
I
that hate
watched
just
that.
moved into Batman, Superman, and then
Yeah.
back into JLA. Like it just people just rode that hate straight through the whole set.
Yeah. And as far as the DCEU, I think like the DCEU we're talking about started with Man of Steel, and it has, like Wes was saying, like Man of Steel, but it also has the Suicide Squad movies in there.
Oh, yeah.
And Birds of Prey, and
Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
yeah, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. And then I think they're coming out with a Flash movie, right?
Yeah, Flash. I don't know if Cyborg's still in the works. You've got second Captain Marvel in the works, plus Black Adam. They
Yeah.
just announced Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate for the Black Adam movie.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
Captain
not
Marvel,
another
do you
one.
mean
Pierce
Shazam?
Brosnan, but I love Dr. Fate. What's that?
Black
you
Adam
said-
is separate from Shazam. Black Adam is a different
Yeah.
movie that is going to be starring The Rock.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Shazam 2 is also coming out.
No,
But
he
it's-
said he called it Captain Marvel too, and I was like, I always get confessed because I know that Shazam. Like, how does it work? Is Captain Marvel Shazam's actual name, and he just says
Yeah,
Shazam?
like he's been Captain Marvel since the 1930s.
Oh, okay. I just
But-
get it mixed up with the girl
The
Marvel.
the 9 Marvel Captain Marvels.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's gonna. I actually really like that Shazam movie. Like that.
Oh, super fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's kind of an obscure character compared to the MCU.
Yeah, and that's the thing about DC is
Nowadays.
they've been so back and forth about
Yeah.
what they want to have quality wise, what they want to have, feeling wise in their cinematic universe. So you have Wonder Woman, the first one that hits well, and then you have, Wonder Woman 2, which doesn't hit well, and then you have Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, which, while some people love them, basically failed. And then you have Aquaman, which is like, I don't know how this fits in. I don't know if this is any good.
It doesn't matter. It's awesome.
My girlfriend really likes it.
So did my wife.
There are valid reasons. for
Yeah.
that,
Nicole
right?
Kidman for us, and that other chick, whatever her name is.
Amber Heard, who
Yeah.
so, like, it was so funny. We were watching Snyder Cut. My girlfriend's like, "What? She has an accent? She never had an accent in Aquaman." I'm like, "It doesn't matter. Just don't worry about it." She's like, "No, it's like." And then we like paused the movie and we looked up a video, and she's like, "See, she didn't have an accent." And I'm like, you're not gonna find restitution for your anger."
Yeah,
over
if you're looking for continuity, don't worry about it. It's
Yeah,
comic
like-
books. Like you said, there's 80 years of history. It's not all gonna lump
Yeah.
together.
I think that's a problem with the DC universe, right? Like it's very
Yeah.
disjointed. Like I don't
Mhm.
think there's anyone
Which
calling
I'm
the
actually
shots.
fine with.
Yeah,
I guess, but it's hard to say that that's not like a monumental fuck up when you're looking at like how MCU is just like choreographed so well, where they'll have like even just like there were things in WandaVision that were just like throwaway references that still like tied in and told
Mhm.
this cohesive story, saying we're
Yeah.
telling the same story in all of our movies, whereas
And I actually hate
DCU.
that.
Okay.
I don't want to watch 14 movies.
That's
to
a
get
good
the
point,
whole
though,
thing,
yeah.
like yeah, for sure.
Like I got tired. Avengers, I enjoyed the first one. After that, they're all the same. I hated Age of Ultron, and from them it just rode downhill. Thor was, I enjoyed the Thor movies. Black Panther, I forget it. I don't remember what happened one bit in it. I think most of them are pretty forgettable to me. Whereas you see when they do the standalone ones, they seem to sit out better to me. Like Aquaman, I remember it, and I actually rewatched it, which I never do with anything.
Mhm.
Wonder Woman I enjoyed, and Shazam was good. Looking forward. I'm still surprised at a Black Adam movie, but it's got The Rock, so it'll do well.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
confused. Is he a bad guy or is he like a Joker anti-hero?
No, he originally was a villain. Like he was someone that had the Shazam powers before Billy Batson, like back in ancient Egypt times.
Okay.
And then I can't remember the whole story of how the powers came into the future, but
that's
he's been
interesting
one.
because wasn't The Rock heel originally in wrestling and then became a good guy?
Yeah, there you go.
He was
So-
also the bad guy in Scorpion King, which is also based in ancient Egypt. So
Yeah.
it all comes full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
I hope we
Yeah.
see an anamorphic Rock Scorpion hybrid CGI monstrosity in Black Adam, but I'm not.
Yeah, so Black Adam, he kind of got redeemed a bit, and then he went and either a Middle East or an African country, that was his origin place. He's taken it over as its leader, and now it's a refuge for villains and characters and that just can't get along in the real world. He'll actually take them into his country.
See, that's the
Interesting.
stuff I want to see. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see a series of that. Like, give me 5 seasons of Black Adam running this country where it's like all these like maybe B grade villains getting into misadventures and stuff, and maybe
Of
like
like
a good through line.
Geopolitical superhero drama. Let's
Yeah.
just do that.
Less politics, more hero.
It could be like what is it, like the DC equivalent of what was the House of M storyline in Marvel, which by the way I need to see that made into
I have
something.
terrible news for you, Derek.
Is it not?
I feel like they burned the House of M storyline with WandaVision.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was too similar, so they can't just because like WandaVision, like House of M, she goes nuts because her brother died, so she invents this whole world, and WandaVision was like kinda so. Like
Her
you and
inventing
me
them,
would be
yeah.
like, well, this is enough difference, but for like Joe Blow, who's not super into comic books, would be like, didn't they do all this in WandaVision? So, like, that's one thing that we should talk about a lot is that how much material the MCU has burned up already and how much is left. But one thing I wanted to bring up, sorry to switch gears off of Black Adam, but another thing that the DCEU is going to suffer badly from was since the JLA did so bad, like Josh Whedon's JLA.
He's showing us Shazam as Captain Marvel.
Oh, there
Right
you go.
The proof.
This is the original movie serial from the 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And he's badass. He like throws people off buildings. He tosses an engine at a guy and kills him. Shoots
Oh, nuts.
guns a pile of guys down with a machine gun. It's pretty
Yeah.
Fuck around the
And then
So,
there's
one
that.
thing I wanted to mention was how, like, right now the DCEU is in a tough spot because since JLA did so bad and they kind of panicked and they got rid of their standalone Batflick movie and they cast the Twilight guy. What's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson as another Batman. And then it's like all this is up in the air. And then they're like, fuck it, Snyder, go make your movie. And he goes back and I feel like it's a big success. So now they're just like, oh, now what? Like, is the Robert Pattinson Batman movie going to be in the same universe as the DCEU? Or
Well, you've got a lot of interesting things coming up. So you got that new Batman potentially. You've got the Flash movie, which could do okay. You have James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
oh,
which could be
that'll
okay.
be good.
But again, it's so hit or miss. It's you don't know. I mean, you got to admire a franchise like Marvel that was able to pull off at least mediocrity for 23 films for
Yeah.
you know
mediocrity.
12
is
years.
something.
Like some of them are excellent, but like at least the baseline was established.
Yeah.
And I think DC has been struggling to do that, and some of it is hitting on the mark, but I don't know, man. I think you'll see. I think James Gunn's Suicide Squad will be okay, and I think the new Batman will be okay. But it brings up the point, of course, how many Batman do we need in our lifetime? Like, honestly, what's the count? 6, 7? Like,
yeah, like, are we gonna get like the equivalent of Spider-Man Homecoming with the next Batman?
I mean, they keep making money though. People are paying.
That's true.
So like the answer to how many when they stop making money, that's when they'll probably stop making them.
and that's the Disney thing too, is like they will keep pimping these properties until there's not a dollar to squeeze out. And with streaming, if it just doesn't make money in the theaters, they'll make it a Disney Plus show. But I think we'll see the same thing for Batman, DC. Have any of you guys signed up for the DC streaming service?
I didn't even know there was one.
It's in the US only, so I mean you can do it with an IPN, I guess, but yeah, it's kind of stupid because Warner Brothers and HBO have deals, so we get the movies, but all the animated movies, all that type of stuff is licensed out to Sci-Fi and all these other different channels, so we don't get it. So Crave, which has HBO plus movies, gets first run on any of the Warner Brothers movies that come out in Canada for streaming, and then they sit there for a few months before they go to Netflix. But DC pumps out a lot of actually pretty good animated movies in their own universe, and for some reason they're not on any of the streaming services right now.
I managed to catch the Harley Quinn series. That was excellent. Just excellent.
Yeah, and
so
like
funny.
that's on Adult Swim, so it's still, but in the States, it's on HBO Max. And
So
I think the streaming service in the States is going away just because they just put it on HBO Max instead.
You think this will end up like all the other stuff that just ends up on Crave, like all the CBS Star Trek stuff? Like,
yeah, they just make deals because Canada, it's all different licensing, right? So HBO with it, Crave has it, so they get most of the HBO stuff, but some of the other stuff gets licensed out to other channels, and so we have to sit and wait for it. I think the best thing that one of the best things DC put out was Doom Patrol.
Oh yeah,
that you were talking about Doom Patrol. Yeah,
I absolutely love it. It's dark, it's twisted, it's funny, confusing at times, but all the actors are great. And the big dumb robot man just swearing his head off the whole time is entertaining in itself.
And that's Brendan Fraser from the Mummy, right?
Yeah.
Fraser, yeah.
And you don't think you'd like fat Brendan Fraser, but you like fat Brendan Fraser, because the first episode, I watched it because Neil told me to, and I was like, fine, I'll watch it. It's actually really good. But it's funny because Brendan Fraser's just this like scumbag car racer, and he shows up and he's all like fat and stuff, and then like he crashes and they put his brain in a robot and stuff, but he's still like the fat scumbag mentally. So he's like Neil said, it's like always swearing. And it's funny because you could go on YouTube and see like super cuts of just like swears, and it's like 10 minutes of him just swearing. That's good.
It's really good. It's dark. It goes back to the Grant Morrison run on Doom Patrol quite a bit. And so there's a lot of exploration of mental illness and trauma and all that stuff in it too. So it's actually something I would consider good and enjoyable. Like it's trying to be not just fluff, it's trying to be good, which a lot of people don't want, which is fair.
And the best part about like where it's experiment or like going through the mental illness stuff is it doesn't feel like you're learning. It feels like you're getting backstory on the characters and stuff.
Yeah, like Crazy Jane, and the underground, like where all her multiple personalities live, there's one episode dedicated entirely to that, which is excellent.
Yeah. And then I was also going to say I really liked the Titans series that DC put out.
I like season 2 better. Once it introduced Crypto the super dog.
Yeah. So it's like, so it's funny because it's like DC has the ability to make good, and like it's funny because it's like hit or miss. Like I liked the first JLA, but I like Snyder Cut better, and I'm actually looking forward to the Flash movie. But then you have that whole Flash series that was out. That what was that on CW or something?
Yeah, all the CW shows
Yeah.
are just fluff. They have a formula. It's talking or a little bit action, talking, a little bit story build, big speeches, final action scene, a little bit more speeches, the end.
Mhm.
Every single one for I think, 2 seasons now. And all
And
Arrows like that, Flash is like that,
yeah,
Supergirl's like that. The only one that wasn't really like that is Stargirl, which is surprisingly good. You feel a
I
little
didn't,
bit
I didn't even
creepy.
catch that one.
yeah, I
Yeah,
never heard of it.
it didn't come out in Canada yet. I don't know what it's going
Oh.
to come out on. I found it on CBS's streaming site with an IPN. So
Yeah. So DC's first order of business is get the stuff that's good into Canada so we can watch it.
yeah,
Well, I guess
Um,
that brings it up. So, like, let's go back to where we're at. So, the
Mhm.
Snyder Cut just came out. It's self-indulgent. It's got lots of slow action sequences. It has some really good content and some really good fight scenes. It introduces the characters way better than it did before.
Mhm.
Mhm.
What the hell do they do now? If you
Yeah,
were
exactly.
given the baton, let's say,
Yeah.
you know, they're saying, hey, here's as much money as you want. We want you to outshine the Russo brothers. Do whatever you want with DC. What do you do?
Well, I'm I'm so scared that they're gonna like because they keep showing that Batman future where Superman is bad. Like they showed the flash forward in Batman versus Superman, and now it was in the epilogue for Snyder Cut. So I'm scared they're gonna go there. But what I would do is the next step, which is a very good one, which I feel is coming, is the Flash movie, but has Batfleck in it because Batman or Ben Affleck as Batman and the Flash interactions was so good, like the odd couple buddy cop sort of humor between them two, like how Batman's like the old grizzled vet, and then Flash is the young guy who like can't stop saying dumb shit. It's just so good. So I would go with that movie, and then I would get maybe not another Justice League movie, but I would definitely do a team up movie, and maybe I would get Martian Manhunter because he was kind of revealed there, and mostly I want him in a movie just so I know how to pronounce Johns. And
you
yeah,
can
so
watch Supergirl for that. He's in there too.
oh yeah, oh okay, yeah, that's
But
what I think. I think they're on a right step with Flash and Batman, and then kind of get another team up movie, but not the pentultimate JLA. Like they gotta build up. Maybe also, whatever happened to Green Lantern? Like I know everybody hated the Ryan Reynolds movie, but that was just the first movie in a
I'm not
series.
sure there's Ryan Reynolds. I think that would have been better without him.
Yeah, I don't know what they could do with it, but that's such a big IP with so much backstory and so many characters that I would kind of run that parallel to whatever they're gonna do, and maybe start with the Sinestro arc where he is Green Lantern, and then he gets kicked out, and he gets the yellow ring, and then he like is it Guy Gardner gets the yellow ring off him or
Oh,
whatever?
you
Later.
really want your Guy Gardner, don't
Oh
you?
yeah, I do. I want Guy Gardner. It's funny because it started as a joke in the 90s because I was like, who's this loser with the cowboy boots and the bowl
He got
cut?
one punched by Batman.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, he's a lovable jackass. Of course I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
So
I bought the Justice League International omnibuses. I think it's
mhm.
about 2,400 pages between the two books.
Oh wow.
And he's just a piece of trash. He's just an idiot. What episode? I don't know if you saw the cover I was trying to show you with the cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
The cat's yellow, and the Green Lantern ring's weakness is yellow. So you got the shit kicked out of him by a feral cat.
so
What do
as
you
our comic expert,
yeah.
then Golden George, what would you want to see for the future?
I kind of like what they're doing more and going with the smaller properties and single stuff. I've never been a big team guy other than Justice Society, but the Justice League, I've heard they were going to try do like a Flashpoint type thing with a multiverse and paradoxes and all that kind of stuff, but it's so convoluted and I hate multiple timeline stuff. So like even the Flash, the Batman Joker scene at the end and the epilogue is like, why this didn't need to be in here. That actually was the only part of the Snyder Cut I didn't like. I just thought it was pointless. And
I agree.
like, is it supposed to be the Injustice world, like Earth-6 or whatever the hell it is, that where Lois Lane dies, so Superman goes ballistic, and basically it's everybody versus Superman's camp. And it's, as a comic, it's a fun read because it's just the writer just didn't care because it was its own universe and he could just kill whoever he wanted. So he just kill like huge characters, not that you could never get away with in the mainstream books. But as a movie, I don't think so.
It definitely feels like Zack Snyder wants to make that film, though. He,
Yeah,
I really hated that epilogue, but the whole movie
I
was great
too.
except for that.
I hate the Joker character. 100.
Oh yeah,
I
Ooh,
despise the
not
Dark
making any
Knight.
friends here. Do you see how much the internet likes the Joker, Neil?
Yeah, well, the internet's full of dum-dums.
Yeah. I feel like DC has overplayed their Joker card at this
They always have.
Mhm.
They always have. The comics too. Like they've peeled his face off, they've killed him, they've done everything. He's worn his face upside down and stitched back on and all kinds of dumb stuff. Like I just never got the character. Even the movie from a few years back, it drove me nuts. Like I didn't like it at all. I get Heath Ledger did a good job, but I hate the character so much that I hated that movie.
oh, that movie, Dark Knight, was just so good. I'm gonna have to disagree because I really liked Heath Ledger's performance. I mean, obviously DC is gonna pimp out its best properties, and that's
the
Batman
performance
Joker.
good. I just hated the movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because
I hated it because of Christian Bale, but that's not going to get me any fans either.
We're not getting George Clooney back though. So we are getting Mr. Mom back though as Batman.
Oh yeah,
so.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's going to be in though.
I think he was going to be in. Was it?
Was it just voice in one of the animated, or was he going to?
No, he's in one of the Batmans. I think he's like the older version and probably like a Flash Forward or something. I can't remember.
More Batman Beyond or something.
Oh, people are crying for a Batman Beyond movie
with him as old
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne, which would be pretty cool. Actually,
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you want to see smaller one-offs, if that's what I'm
I
hearing.
like the solo movies better than the team ones. I like Suicide Squad was dumb, but it was something that can sit on its own and it doesn't have to tie and it doesn't drag everything else down because it just sits on its own. So it sucked. Who cares?
Do you think James Gunn's going to do a better job?
Hmm?
Do you think James Gunn is going to do a better job?
I think so. I like the choice of characters. They are definitely cannon fodder characters. Harley Quinn's not in the new one, is she?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't think so.
She's like Deadpool. She's a way overplayed character. I'm kind of tired of.
Yeah.
So she's, her and Deadpool are probably the two most popular characters created in the last, say, 30 years. I can't think of anybody else like between Marvel and DC, and they play it and work it as much as they can.
Fair enough. Well, Derek, so since you are our non-geek enthusiast at this point, I would say.
He's still a geek.
I'm a huge geek.
Don't let
Just
him off the hook. He just hasn't watched these movies.
So you haven't
Yeah.
watched the movies in their entirety. Did you watch the Snyder Cut?
I have not. No, I haven't seen Snyder Cut. I haven't seen the original Justice League. I didn't see
Okay.
Suicide Squad. I honestly think the last DC property I even watched, not exclusive of the Watchmen series on HBO, which was fucking mind-blowingly good, was probably Batman versus Superman. I think would have been the
Wow.
last thing I even saw. So that's how far removed I am from it.
So
Snyder
from
Cut
your
was more
knowledge,
that.
from your
Sorry.
knowledge of that turd, which is Batman of versus Superman,
The
and what
DC
you've
Age
heard
of
people.
Ultron.
Yeah.
So where would you go? What would you do now that you know that the Snyder Cut is getting at least 75% on Rotten Tomatoes?
I mean, honestly, what I'm going to talk about is maybe less about the content of the movies themselves and more that DC needs to figure out their distribution more than anything. Like, you have the two most marketable superheroes in the world in Superman and Batman, and you're getting your ass kicked by Marvel because they're owned by Disney. But even before that all happened, like, DC's distribution is just like a patchwork of like, some shows are like teenage melodrama on the CW, and some of their shows are adult fare on HBO Max, and some of their shows are direct to Netflix, and some of their movies, like, they're just all fucking over the place, and there is no cohesiveness. Even if you're not trying to tell one story and like tie everything together all tidily, if you're not trying to appeal to people like Neil who just want to like sit down and turn their brains off for like an hour and a half and enjoy a good movie and not have to worry about how it ties into the bigger story, you still have to, like, what the fuck is your brand? What are you trying to tell with what are you doing? Like, I can't tell you what DC's branding is, what their story is. I can't even tell you like what really belongs to the DC universe without Googling
there's something there for everybody, where Marvel is just, hey, Marvel zombies, here's more of the same. There's some
yeah. But I
know.
mean, if you're looking at like box office receipts and the amount of money that they're bringing in, like, I think Marvel is just like,
well, none of those DC movies hurt. They all made good money. They just didn't make Avengers money.
Yeah. Well,
That's fair.
I don't think anything's going to make a
But Marvel does some smaller side stuff. You wouldn't like Runaways is pretty good, and it doesn't fit with any of the rest of it. They'll throw like little throwaway lines, which I find annoying. Like, oh yeah, this happened. You don't need to do that. Pointless. But I enjoyed that. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. There's one more. It's not bad. The chick walks around with a dinosaur. It's kind of cool. But yeah,
that's all you need.
I'm getting as bad as Dale. The dinosaur, I'm in.
Yeah, where's my Dino Riders movie?
You know, Marvel's Netflix shows were so goddamn boring. You know, and they didn't need to be tied to the movies. The tone wasn't the same as the movies.
Oh, there was the what was there? The Daredevil, the
Iron
agent.
Fist.
Yeah,
and I love Iron Fist. That's my favorite Marvel character of all time.
They did you wrong then.
Yeah, they sucked.
I liked how much of a dink the Iron Fist guy was.
Oh yeah, that wasn't too bad, but they were
yeah,
they were all bloated, overinflated with too many episodes, too long. They all suffered from poor editing. It's like, we filmed it, we may as well throw it in.
Yeah,
you know.
I thought Defenders was good because they did they didn't do any of that. Like, Defenders was the ensemble show, so they couldn't overindulge on any of the characters. Like, Cage was kind of good, but there was a lot of stuff of him walking around in a Carhartt hoodie waving.
I watched the first episode of the last episode, and I didn't think I missed anything in the 7 between. So,
I mean, I think so much of comic book media is built around comparison. So, you know, Daredevil was well received because it was better than the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. Jessica Jones was well received because it was better than anticipated. Iron Fist was not well received because it compared to other things. And like, I think that, you know, it slowly went downhill with the Netflix Marvel ties in, but
you know, only watched so many hallway fights.
Yeah, so many hallway fights. Oh my goodness.
Even Falcon and the Winter Soldier basically has a hallway fight inside the airplane.
Yeah.
Fight in all the Marvel shows.
Yeah.
Which actually, the opening scene of that's good, but then it kind of got real dull real quick for the rest of it.
Well, get used to more of that, because that was the Disney Plus's best ever premiere of a show, was
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it outdid Mandalorian, WandaVision,
no way,
and all their other shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see what the next episode is like for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think the reception will be as strong by any means.
Based on that first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Falcon character, the Winter Soldier. Who cares? So
I mean, I like him because he's dark and mysterious.
Everybody in that show is so pouty. It's beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much. Like, we just blew our entire CGI budget on an awesome 15-minute fight scene at the beginning, and now we're just gonna have people standing around whining and pouting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on a whole tirade about why it's weird that Falcon is needing a bank loan, but I think for me, the thing I want to see from
pension at the
DC.
very least.
Sorry, say that again.
You'd think you'd have at least a military pension or salary
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, or could just call Pepper Potts on the phone, or maybe hang out in Wakanda for a while.
Yeah. Hey, there was the throwaway line that she said she didn't want his help. She's like, I don't want your help. And you're like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
There you go.
I guess
There's your MacGuffin.
there's a lot of MacGuffins in comic books, and
Yes, there is.
Snyder Cut is no exception to that.
Mhm.
I took notes. Honestly, there's 3 mother boxes that they're randomly searching for that form together to join the unity, which produces the anti-life equation.
No.
No.
The anti-life equation's the
That's
dirt.
something different.
It's the lines in
that's
the dirt. Yeah.
What?
Spoiler alert, it's the Omega symbol.
You guys aren't
Oh.
selling me on this. How long is this movie?
4 hours.
Yeah, I don't know.
Series.
But Derek, the lines, they glow red.
Like Fifth Element, kind of. But...
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry to cut you off, Wes. I just
No.
didn't want you to miss any
No,
of this.
that's totally fair. I am
Extremely important plot.
misconstruing this MacGuffin chase.
Yeah,
I have problems with the
I didn't like the mother box thing because it's not really what the mother boxes are or ever did. And I mean, I
Yeah.
do like that they used the Kirby creations. The Darkseid looked awesome.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf didn't really look like Steppenwolf.
In neither incarnation.
I popped for Granny Goodness just standing in the background next to Darkseid. That was awesome. And Desaad looked pretty cool too. The metal thing was dumb, but when he was actually standing with Darkseid, so you got all these Kirby legacy creations that, in my opinion, are 1,000 times better than Thanos and predate him too. So Thanos is just kind of a cheap knockoff Darkseid. And then
Well, and again, it comes back to that. They play off of each other, right? So
yeah.
Neil
So-
just flexing his nerd biceps here.
Well,
I don't know what any of that
now,
was.
now they're bringing, right? They've got the Darkseid and they've got all these third world or not third world. What the hell do they call it? Anyways,
Off-world?
the new gods characters and I want to see Mr. Miracle and Big Barda come in, like those are, and more of that type of stuff.
and they've only really been used in the cartoons. So
yeah, like DC, Marvel. That's one thing they can't touch DC on. Has been the animated series.
Yeah,
between Justice League United, Justice League, Superman, the Batman from the 90s. Marvel hasn't put anything. X-Men was pretty good, but it was pretty low even compared to those groups.
yeah, I mean the whole Batman TAS versus X-Men TAS. I mean that peak in the 90s. It's something else. But the DC moved ahead in that regard. And I hate to use the word MacGuffin to talk about the Zack Snyder movie, but literally they're chasing random boxes. The enemy is going after these boxes. And
but that was the Infinity Gauntlet too. It was just silly.
I guess that had more of a hit home for me, I guess. If I was to do the DC universe, I definitely want to shake things up. So I think while they owe a Flash movie, I think a Flashpoint movie would be great. I think that they're wasting their time, reiterating the Batman, reiterating Suicide Squad. I think that they should do things weird, like go for Batman Beyond. I think that they
I think this
really try to.
It's going to be weird. I mean, they pulled Polka Dot Man and Mothman out of the mothballs, so
Yeah,
they're pulling some neat stuff there, and I don't know. It's a side project that it's never been a big comic book, but it's been in publication since the early 80s, and there's the 60s who did one as well. That it never goes away. They can just keep changing up the team nonstop. Whereas most people, when they think of Justice League, they think of the big seven, but although those aren't even, there's no Green Arrow or Black Canary in the last two movies, so
Yeah.
they're two of the originals. So, but bring Martian Manhunter in, that'll be good. I'd like to see a little bit more, maybe with the new Gods characters, especially Mr. Miracle. And then I would like to forget all that stuff and go to the Justice League International stuff from the 90s with the Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, Guy Gardner. And,
Yeah, Guy Gardner.
DC fans are obsessed with Booster Gold. I never understood the attraction.
Oh, dude, he's a football player from the future. What's not to love?
with
He's
a
like
Legion ring.
he's like Iron Man mixed with a football player, and he wears gold. I like him too, but it's just because he's like a funny jackass character. And as soon as a guy like has wisecracks, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah, like Gold and Blue Beetle, they just kind of made them almost like a buddy cop comedy duo. They're just two idiots. They always got in trouble. Fun characters with no real powers, but they upgraded Booster Gold to be like time travel type stuff more. But
Okay, Wes.
Okay.
You keep getting interrupted. I want to hear what you want to do with your movies.
I think the key is to get more Tim Burton about it, to get crazier. I think that
cringe.
I know. No, don't go to Tim Burton, but just like make it weird.
Okay.
Make it weird and never hire Tim Burton again.
Do you like swirls?
I rewatched his version of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory the other day, and I just I had to turn it off. I was done.
I gotta say, Johnny Depp has some great just facial expression acting in that. That's my whole take. Has good facial expressions.
But I think that just being weird about it and working with people who can have fun with the properties in a way that's unexpected, as much as I dislike Captain Marvel, for instance, I think that having the Skrulls, which are the perceived enemy, and taking it in a different direction was very clever. And there are some instances in Marvel where they deviate with the movies in a very clever way. And I think, we've all heard the Batman story. Even people who haven't seen the movies know who Batman is. It's one of those things. Superman, he's basically, this invincible character. Do something different with him. And I think, the Batman Beyond idea is something I would be very excited about, but I don't know. I think if you're going to do Green Lantern, you got to do it a little more grounded. I know CGI is huge and it would be essential, but you gotta make it more relatable to people as a character. I think a lot of the big universe stuff is hard for people to embrace sometimes. You got to have those moments where it's like, okay, this character has flaws, this character has had trauma in their lives, this character is relatable. I see these characters grow in our dynamic. There's so much of static characters in comic books sometimes, and it's really nice to see growth.
Yeah, Green Lantern, I would say probably use John Stewart, which is one that most people are actually almost more familiar with from the Justice League cartoon from our generation anyways. And he is more of a grounded character and more backstory in that than Hal Jordan. He's just a jockey, test pilot kind of guy. They've created some more dimension to him, but I've never liked him. I've always found him boring. So.
There was a Justice League cartoon movie that they went to a mirror universe where all the superheroes were evil and had a giant crime organization. And I forget the name of the film.
Was it the Crime Syndicate? No. I can't remember.
I think they called themselves the Syndicate or something. But in any case, it was really refreshing to see a Batman face an evil owl man, and it was like, I just really like, everybody knows the stories at this point. Just make it different. You just stop being safe. You're not going to lose money on these properties because they are big properties. So don't worry about it. Just have fun.
Well, that's probably why for comics, I'm actually reading more stuff from Image and Dark Horse and IDP and that sort of thing. after, and even the TV series, like The Boys, which is just really a Justice League knockoff,
Yeah.
was really good. And that actually, I think, started at DC, and DC's like, out
I
of here.
think the first, yeah.
You know, what was it? Lock and Key was really good.
The
I
show?
actually want, yeah,
I actually I never watched it, but
You'll love it, Derek. That's
Yeah.
right up
it's
Derek's
really
alley.
good. And I bought the whole series and read it and really enjoyed it too. There was enough of a change from it. I think you probably should watch Shazam with your kids. Or your kid, I guess, one. Unless you have more than one that I don't know about.
nope, just the one.
My niece and nephew love it. They love the Shazam character now. They're maybe a little bit older than Noah, but not too much, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they're a couple years older.
I think the girl might be Noah's age, the younger one.
Yeah. Are we just not saying names on purpose?
Yeah.
I don't remember them.
Oh, that's fine. We could. I think.
Uncle
they're not
of the
from
year.
my side. They're from
Yeah.
the other side.
I think
They,
the girl is a year older.
I want to hijack this completely, and we're going to spend the rest of this episode saying, does Why the Last Man ever get an adaptation made ever? Because
I
holy
thought-
shit.
I hope not.
Really?
I've read it 3 times. I absolutely love it, and I just can't see it being done justice.
I thought what's his nuts? The guy who was in Transformers. I thought he was signed up to be the main, like, why?
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf. I
See?
heard,
Proving my point.
but this was like 5 to 10 years ago.
Well, no,
Yeah,
yeah, this thing's been in development. Like, they keep announcing it, and then there's new writers, and there's a new showrunner attached, and they've discussed
That's never
like,
a good idea.
a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I honestly, like, I think with the budgets that they're putting towards TV series now, I think they could do a faithful.
Yeah, I heard it was if it was going anywhere, it was HBO. I'd actually rather for his stuff either see Ex Machina or
Yes.
Saga.
Yeah, both of which are so fucking good. I mean, Saga would probably require a bit higher budget to pull off.
Even do it animated. But if he ever finishes it, it's been a year and a half, I think, since the last issue came out, and he's still got a 6-issue run to come. I want to read
Game of Thrones type of situation.
Yeah, pretty much. He's too busy with TV, I think. Yeah, I'd really like to reread Ex Machina too. I think that would make a good political drama.
That was a fantastic series.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only thing I read I didn't really love by him was the O Canada one, or one where they invade.
Oh, we stand on guard.
Or We Stand on Guard, yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that one that much. But anything else I've read by him, like he wrote Runaways as well. I never read the comics, but the TV show was half decent. And then yeah, I've been, like I said, the independent type TV series seem to be more enjoyable lately. You get enough of the other stuff in the comics too.
Yeah. I'm really liking all the Vertigo TV series too.
Yeah.
And who did Preacher? Which publishing house did that?
That came out under DC.
Yeah.
I forgot that was even
It's
they
good.
did they do anything beyond the 2? They did 2 seasons.
I think it's on
I
3
thought
or
it was
4
3.
now.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it.
It's at least 3 because I'm in the 3rd season now.
Ironically, as much as I don't hate it, I just didn't enjoy it. The Boys is the same production company as Preacher.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
I could see that. Yeah.
I know Seth Rogen was really invested in Preacher and
Preacher,
making
yeah.
sure it was online with the comics. So it's
Yeah,
interesting
I was
to hear somebody
surprised when
talk
I
ill
saw
of it.
his name on The Boys as well, but I wasn't, kind of thing, because again, it's as crazy as Preacher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Preacher doesn't follow the comic exactly, but everything they do different than the comic is still good. Like Preacher was one of my favorite comics. I think it had 60 issues, and then it was just kind of like a little finite 5-year series, and I really enjoyed the whole run. So like I was worried about the show. I was like, oh, are they going to do it justice and stuff? But they made some, like, I guess, executive decisions that I preferred over the comic just because I didn't want to watch a certain character die halfway through the run.
Right. Yeah, I kind of tapped out by the end of it. I was sporadically watching
Yeah.
them, and then I don't even think I finished it at the end.
Yeah. I guess a good selling point is if you've ever wondered what can be done with a vampire's foreskin, they explore that whole theme a lot in the 3rd season.
Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't really sell it. I'm not
It's
looking forward to that now.
it's
I was
face
really
cream.
excited about that series.
It's de-aging face cream, which you wouldn't think.
currently
There you
they've
go.
got Sandman in production right now too from Vertigo. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what they're gonna do with that. I still haven't finished reading those. They're a tough slog.
Yeah. Is that more of like a sort of noir storyline type of deal?
Yeah, the character Sandman is Dream, and then there's the Endless, which are his siblings. And
Yeah.
then a lot of it is just them telling stories. Like there's a lot of William Shakespeare type stuff, and them interacting with Shakespeare to help him create what he created. And
Yeah. One
so
problem I have with DC, which is good for comic books, is that they get like existential. Like one of the things I forgot I was really waiting for was Animal Man, which I really liked. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. And then I was remembering when he went into the life force and rebuilt himself and like had all this like existential like existence talk. And I'm like, could you really make that go into a movie?
yeah, and that's Grant Morrison stuff as well, like Doom
Yeah.
Patrol. So
Yeah, that would probably have to be more of a series, maybe even
yeah, I
animated.
think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was hesitant to see Ant-Man. I couldn't imagine seeing Animal Man
Oh
as
yeah.
a film title.
I kind of like the Ant-Man. I like the first Ant-Man movie. The second one kind of stunk.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it was better than a lot of the other second movies like Iron Man 2 and Thor 2. Like both of those movies were like,
I've forgotten them. I don't even know what they were about.
don't remind yourself. Whiplash is not a good bad guy for Iron Man.
Oh, is that too?
Yeah, it's like Iron Man's driving an F1 car and Whiplash cuts it in half with a bullwhip that's made of
Right.
electricity. And you're like, it's funny. I wanted to bring this up before when we were talking about how MCU did so good. But one of the reasons MCU did so good was nobody expected it to, because the big names like X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, they'd already been done. So MCU was like, well, let's do Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., whose career was actually kind of in the toilet at the time. So it was like nobody expected it to do good. And then it just kind of had enough elbow room and leeway for it to like kind of find its own footing and kind of
Right.
push forward. Like
Yeah.
one thing to remember is Terrence Howard. Was it Terrence Howard who was in Iron Man? Iron
Yeah,
Man?
I think so.
He got paid more than Robert Downey Jr. did for the first movie.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
he got, and then he got kicked out because he wanted so much more money. And then they're like, we'll give Robert Downey Jr. a chunk. But it's like that's where it started, and like it ended with Avengers Endgame, and it started at Robert Downey Jr.'s career in the toilet. So it's like I don't think any IP right now would have that amount of time or that
Yeah.
leeway. But
It's hard to
Nobody cared
replicate.
about Iron Man when that came out. Like Iron Man was a nothing character. It's just one that was churning over the years. That who cares?
He
They've
was
replaced him 100 times.
Yeah, at that point he was like the guy behind the scenes. He was kind of like when you look at the comics crossover, what was it? Civil War. Like Iron Man was more just like a government stooge, and he was like less of a superhero. He's just more of like a guy who's in the background being like, oh, these should be the rules and stuff. And then he kind of got flung to the forefront with that movie.
I've always been a big Iron Man fan. I was really excited when the movies picked up, and I think the success about Marvel is they started small and went big. It was very much, as you said, kind of a lightning in a bottle, in the sense that it was unanticipated in its success, and they're like, okay, how far can we take this? Whereas DC saw that and they're like, we need to get there now.
Yeah.
And that's been their folly, is just trying to jump too fast. And
Yeah,
Zack
they shouldn't
Snyder
start
has this
them.
habit of just trying to shoehorn in sequels. And that's what that whole epilogue in Justice League was about, was shoehorning in the possibility of another Justice League movie. And I suppose the question I want to throw out is, do you think he's going to get his way? Do you think we're going to get another, are we going to get a Justice League 2? Are we going to see, does the man who created Joker saying Batman have a reach around deserve a second Justice League?
I think like pre-Snyder Cut, like with Josh Whedon's Justice League, I don't think there was planning on a Justice League 2. But now that Snyder went in and he's like, look, I can save this. I can make Superman suit black instead of red and yellow like Whedon made for whatever reason. I think he gets his sequel. And yeah, I don't know if it's going to be that future one. It might be, they could do the whole preventative timeline thing. Like,
Well, I
the
think
next
that would
one.
be part of the Flashpoint type
Yeah.
storyline. Do that because it is the different Flash screws up the future type thing, and that because he time travels and busts, and he did time travel in this one, right? So
Yeah, he broke the
it
rules.
shatters the futures, and that's one of the possible.
Yeah, is this going to be Ant-Man telling everybody how to go back in time in the Marvel universe, whereas Flash saves the day? Yeah, like I think what the main bad guy in the next Justice League will just be them preventing that future. That'll be the whole storyline.
No way, you don't even have to have a big bad guy because you don't really get bigger than Darkseid.
Well, Darkseid is apparently, I was reading something, but I don't remember it from the epilogue, but they're saying that Darkseid was the guy who was controlling Superman in that, because there was kind of the one where they're gonna wake him up and the computer showed Cyborg Darkseid having his hand on Superman's shoulder, and apparently that's the future that they were like looking at.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, otherwise, like I said, it's like that, just the crazy side universe where Superman goes nuts and kills everybody.
Yeah.
And we're not really giving any spoilers here. This is merely the epilogue where Zack Snyder is shoehorning in things. Like it's it's honestly not relevant to the film.
Other than the Joker scene. And that Joker is awful looking too. Like
Jared Leto as the Joker.
He looks better than Suicide Squad Joker with the grill.
Well, it's the same guy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same guy, but he has a different look. Like the Suicide Joker was the guy with the tattoos.
Right. So that would kind of tell you it's a different universe as well, then, right?
Yeah.
They're different. I don't pay that much attention to catch details like that.
Yeah. I was super pumped on the Flash's like kind of suit of armor outfit he had, that he like flipped down the visor at the end. Like that was dope.
Yeah. Some of the design they had in that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell Batman was getting involved there.
Yeah, that was like one reason why I love Batfleck so much, is I just love the suit design, like that dark gray, light gray with the short ears, which I don't even know if anybody else cares about the length of Batman's ears, but it's like a thing for me. It just looks.
I think Christian Bale Batman had the right size ears.
And Batman's curmudgeon-y, and Affleck filled that in. Right?
Yeah. He definitely, like, one thing
I don't know, he was a bit murdery. I didn't like Batfleck because he's just like, there shouldn't be guns. They're like, I mean, he's a ninja.
People nonstop and basically ruins their entire future, but he doesn't murder them. Well, what the hell's the difference?
Well, I liked the MacGuffin where he explained why he doesn't murder people, because he doesn't want to. Or was that in something else? That might have been a.
Well, I think it said he just doesn't use guns. Like he's not keen on murdering people, but his thing is he doesn't use guns, right? So it's not like that. And Batfleck used guns, right?
Yeah, the whole point was he didn't murder people because he felt like he wouldn't be able to like put the toothpaste back in the tube once he did that, and he would just go fucking on a murder spree.
I think that's what they did with some of the comics with his dad.
Yeah.
His dad.
Or or when Sword of Azrael took over for a bit and was just like ganking everybody.
Yeah.
We could have a broken back Superman.
That's an 80s callback right there, though.
Did you guys watch Gotham? Any of you?
No.
I watched the first season.
The first season wasn't great. They go after that, they thought they were canceled, so they just went nuts. And it's not a great show, but they just go completely nuts with it. It's silly and stupid, but dark at the same time.
Awesome.
Neal with the hard sell.
They bring the Azrael character into it,
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
and yeah, at the end, spoiler, but if you're not gonna watch, who cares? Azrael's got Gordon pinned down, and Penguin and his sidekick come up with a rocket launcher to cheesy 80 music, blast Azrael with the rocket launcher, and they're just like, Jim, you just didn't bring a big enough gun. And they turn around to cheesy music and walk off. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep watching this show. This scene sold me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But
So Derek, you've heard the buzz. Do you think he deserves season, or not season, but JLA 2?
I honestly don't think it's going to happen. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the original Justice League movie drop in like 2016?
17. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been like 3 years, and over that time, no one was like, "Hey, let's give this dude another movie. Let's let him make a sequel." Like,
yeah.
if it hasn't happened in 3 years, I don't think it's gonna like. No matter what the internet is saying about the Snyder Cut, I don't know if DC's gonna turn to him. Like, obviously a decision was made in the past 3 years to like not throw Snyder another bone.
If the theaters don't come back and the box offices don't come back, none of this stuff's going to keep getting made, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a great point.
Lower
Like,
budget TV series type stuff, which people are enjoying and binging and paying for the streaming services. If they can get more money dumping stuff on HBO Max than they can in a theater, why spend like big theater type money budgets? So
true.
I mean,
think
400 million
hopefully-
by the time it's all in, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd rather see more long form, good storytelling, like paced storytelling, than just a whole bunch explosions on the screen for an hour and a half and then go home.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
out of all the shit that you guys have been talking about today, I'm most excited to go watch Doom Patrol after this. So that's like that's at the top of my list now.
Doom Patrol, Lock and Key, and Umbrella Academy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy was great for sure.
Yeah.
So is Umbrella
Lock and Key and
Academy
Doom Patrol are better, in my
is
opinion.
Umbrella Academy DC?
No, it's an independent. Those guys have worked for DC. I can't remember who did
Someone
that.
told me that there was a tie-in with My Chemical Romance. The guy
Yeah,
from-
Gerard Way, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance.
he's actually written Doom Patrol for DC, and it's
Oh, neat.
mind-babblingly pointless and confusing and makes no sense. I think it's him anyway. But, yeah. I really Umbrella Academy second season I thought was better than first, and Doom Patrol, unfortunately with COVID, they didn't. I don't know if there's still episodes coming out. It didn't end on a satisfying note because I think they ended at the mid-season break and haven't come back yet.
Mm.
But Lock and Key, you can watch it and get everything you need out of it. It's a little bit scary, so I'm not sure I'd watch it with kids, but it's not.
You know,
I was gonna say it's not that scary, Neil. I could watch it, and then you're like,
With
yeah,
kids.
that's a good point.
You know what DC
Yeah.
should do? I'm going to solve the DC universe's problems right now. Give Zack Snyder a five picture deal. Give him like a blank check and say, do the fucking Death of Superman, and do the whole Death of Superman storyline. Because there was Death of Superman, and then there was like the 4 spin-off Superman, and then does
They
anyone
just
remember
did those in
Yep.
animated. Actually, they're supposed
Did
to be
they?
really good. Yeah, I don't know.
I was
where
gonna
find
say,
them.
like, they never turned that storyline into, and I guess like you don't want to kill off
Well, they already killed him off and brought him back, right?
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
so,
The opening credits of Snyder Cut is the Death of Superman.
But I
for
think
real?
what we're talking about is like Steel and
Yeah.
evil robot
Cyborg
Superman.
because-
They made the Steel movie with
Shaq?
Shaq. That was
what?
I
yeah.
haven't seen that, actually.
I
that
never
was-
saw it.
That was the Metal Suit Superman movie.
Yeah, so they did for Death of Superman, they did an animated probably 10 years ago that wasn't very good. They just redid it. So there's one that's Death of Superman, and then the second one is Reign of Superman. So it goes into the 4 that come out after he died. So it gives you that story you're asking for. But
Alright.
I don't know where to find it. I haven't been able to see it yet.
Reign
And
of
then,
the Superman. Cool.
It's probably in that no man's land where all the other stuff that has
Where yeah,
Yeah,
like
is.
check
you could
check
probably
the
rent it on
CW
YouTube.
or yeah, YouTube or Netflix or fucking under your couch cushions, because who
Yeah,
knows?
it's not streaming for free anywhere, or part of a subscription.
Yeah.
I think you can pay for them on YouTube, $7 or whatever. But I don't pay for stuff.
Yeah.
I pay for Netflix. I pay for Netflix and Crave. I'm not going to start paying for one-off movies again.
Oh, I was gonna ask, would any of you pay for a $25 movie
No.
like
No.
Wonder Woman 1984 when it first came out, or Tenet, or
Mulan.
Oh my
Mulan,
god.
or Bond if it ever comes out? Or
I mean, if
Well-
COVID lasted for like 5 years
Oh my
and we were
God.
all stuck at home and like date night became
don't say
put on
that.
HBO Max, then maybe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
be
Wonder
hard
Woman will
pressed.
come on Crave in May. I can wait. I don't care that much.
Yeah.
Right? Snyder Cut came out right away, which I was actually surprised about
Yeah.
on Crave. And I know I've never been one that has to go see the movie right away. I don't care about spoilers. If somebody tells me a spoiler and it seems really stupid, I'm like, oh, I don't need to watch that movie now. Save myself some time.
I feel like-
thanks.
Or it's like, that
Yeah.
sounds awesome. I'll go see that.
I feel like the mark of a good movie is someone spoils it for you, but you still enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
You go and see it anyways.
Yeah. Like that
Yeah.
should be like if I say in Snyder Cut, I guess, I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't even know what to spoil. That would be different from the original. But if I spoiled it and you watched it and you still liked it, or actually, I think that's another reason why I think Snyder Cut was so good, because I knew the whole plot because I watched JLA. And so I knew everything that was happening, everything that was going to come up. I was like, oh, this is the part where, and then once in a while I'll be like, oh, this is the part where they're going to push that truck with the Russian family in the back. And then it never came up and Batman shot his way through the shield instead. And I was like, oh, well, that's a
Yeah.
surprise. But it was like, you kind of knew everything that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was still really enjoyable.
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was any super special, but it was better than the other one, and it was better than a kick in the ass, and better than Avengers, which is a kick
That's
in the
true.
ass. So
do you think its success directly related to everybody streaming it online, as opposed to like the traditional format of going and seeing it in a theater?
well, I
Yeah.
sure wouldn't have gone and seen it in the theater. I'm not sitting for 4 hours. The last movie I watched in the theater was Aquaman, because my brother-in-law insisted we go watch a movie. I'm like, fine, we'll go watch that. And that was great. But before that was The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and
That was good.
and Justice League First Class. Or not Justice League, sorry, X-Men First Class,
Oh, yeah.
which is one of my favorite superhero movies ever.
The last movie I saw in the theater was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh my god.
And it was good.
So, I mean,
It
you're
was-
just remembering it fondly because you watched a movie in a
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
It was Sonic the Hedgehog. And
I
it was,
hate seeing the
yeah.
theater. I won't do it ever again.
yeah, I don't know. Like now that I haven't been to the theater, although once I go to see an action movie that big, like for me, it's always like I want to see the action movies because it just looks so good, all big and bangy and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like once I go to a theater, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is why it's good. But it'll take me a lot to get into a theater.
I can't lay down in the theater. I can't pester my wife in the theater by sticking my feet in her face. I can't, right? Like,
I feel like your wife's gonna go to a theater without you.
Yeah.
she has a few times. She's taken her nieces and nephews. But she's like, yeah, I'm not going to go see Beauty and the Beast. You know.
Yeah.
But, all this stuff is way too long for me to sit. I can't sit that long. You've noticed I've gotten up a few times to wander around. I can't sit more than 15 minutes usually.
Mhm.
Theater does not work.
Interesting. I suppose the last thing I want to bring up, I don't know how much longer we want to talk about all this, but the last thing I want to talk up is obviously with the Snyder Cut, the reason why this happened was because of what people refer to as toxic fans, and like people putting pressure on the studio to get her done, to make this happen. And the studio changed its mind and denied it for a while, and then accepted it for a while and said it wasn't happening, and then eventually came forward and made it happen. Do you think that this movie should have happened? Do you think that it was something that what are the implications for this for the future of mass media, so to speak?
Well, I don't think too often that, a director gets, leaves a project because their son passed away and then his vision is completely lost and whoever took over for it. So I think it's more or less a special situation on this one, and all the like he didn't film that much extra to put in this for the 4 hours. Like most of this was already filmed other than some of the epilogue stuff, which was unnecessary. But
70 million extra, so
well, it doesn't take long, I don't think, making movies. Yeah, I think there's a lot of CGI stuff, but actual, like with the actors, I don't think, other than a couple small scenes, they didn't film anything new, from what I understand. And they got rid of Superman's mustache because they had to CGI the mustache off for the Whedon cut because they refilmed all these scenes.
Yeah.
So this was actually the original footage and stuff. And I think the story makes a little bit more sense and was plotted better. But I also don't think he was going to release a 4-hour movie in the theater originally. So
could have been 3 hours.
It probably would have still been 3, but
It was supposed to be two movies, wasn't it? Initially,
I don't know.
oh, it might
That
have
would
been.
make
I don't
sense.
remember that. Yeah, like Kill Bill type of thing, or Infinity War, or
Yeah.
On one hand, this is kind of bad because it's like the kid who was having a tantrum got what he wants. So next time, they already said that they put the kibosh on the different, I think it was Suicide Cut. Like the fans were saying we wanted
the air cut. Like, who cares?
the Ire cut or whatever. And Warner Brothers is like, no. So it's like on one hand you're scared of that, but on the other hand, this is like you haven't really seen something like this where the director's cut makes such a big difference since like what, Blade Runner, which had like 5 different versions, and then there's like one version that's super good. And then so I think I don't think we're gonna see something like this happen for another probably 20 years.
Although the nerds now are clamoring to reestablish the Snyder universe, and it's like, you guys can't ever be happy. Like, you got your movie, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's a thing too. Like since the first one failed and then they kind of abandoned the Snyder universe, are they gonna bring it back? And it's like, oh.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm more interested in, like I said, I'll go see another Aquaman movie. I'll watch Wonder Woman once it comes up on Crave. I don't
But
really
that
care
is the
about it.
Snyder universe, Neil.
It's just its own thing. It's not him. It doesn't matter. Like, that's what I like. They can stand on their own well enough that it doesn't matter. And I think there is a second one of those in the works, from what I understand. I'm looking forward to Shazam 2 and Black Adam. And I think that's pretty much all that's in the works right now for DC. The Flash movie, but I don't like the Flash, so I don't care.
You shut your mouth.
I don't understand. Like, they made Barry Allen like a kid in that. Like, he's always been a boring adult character. I get why they changed him, because Barry Allen's a dud. But
yeah, I just like guys who run fast.
It'll get some hate. Yeah. Then I think they should go with some more of their obscure projects. Bring in, make Green Lantern, but make it with Mobu, the Green Lantern planet that doesn't talk. Just a planet floating in space that everybody goes and hangs out on.
Yeah.
Even in my comics, I don't read Batman, Justice League, or Superman. I just read the smaller type stuff. I read Suicide.
Oh, see, I'm the other side of the fence. Like, I really like the Batman. I really like when they work together. That's my jam.
I don't think Batman fits with the Justice League universe.
I don't either.
Because he's a miserable, horrible character. Like, they've made him such a miserable character that it doesn't work to have him in a team to me. The Snyderverse actually made that work, which surprised me. So
Yeah, that's
except
fair.
for Batman versus Superman, where he was just a miserable pig and tries to kill Superman. So
I think we'll see Batman movies until the end of time. I think that this is going to be a property.
Same with Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
three biggest characters in the entire world are Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. And they'll just
Yeah.
keep losing those properties until they don't work anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that while I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder's filmmaking, I think that it was really nice to see him finish the movie the way he wanted to. Like that's a privilege that most people won't get in Hollywood, is a second chance like that. And you know, in terms of the timing of it for a 4-hour film, I think it's the best he could ask for.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, people on the internet sometimes are just so crappy to one another, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be nicer if people play ball, but I mean, you can't have the internet make all the decisions either. You need creative things. You need new things. I'm tired of reboots. I don't know. Like, you guys remember when Snakes on a Plane came out,
Ugh.
and like how so much of that was driven by like online fan suggestions.
And then it just fucking it was just a bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why, like, I don't like the fact that this got made, is because, you know, it gives too much of a voice as opposed to the creative engine behind it. And like, let's face it, the creative engine behind it is already slowed down by the corporate studio. Like, there's so many hands that go, don't do that already.
Mhm.
Like, lessen that, let go, people go crazy, let people have fun, maybe decrease the budgets, but
Yeah.
you know,
I'm not sure if, over the last year, if they were able to freely make new movies without the extra hassles of COVID and production costs, that this would have gotten done either. But
Yeah.
since he's not out there filming a new big blockbuster, let him do this, get it done. It'll make some money. It'll bring eyes to HBO Max and bring a, may as well, because nobody's doing anything else, and they can do it without people, right? It's all filmed already, so piece it together and get it out there and get the attention for it without having to go through all the production and make, spending $300 million to make a movie you may not be able to put in a theater.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it made sense that I'd have been surprised if it got made if it hadn't been for COVID to a certain degree.
Guys, we gotta wrap this up pretty quick. I think because we're at an hour and a half now. I think, Derek, you haven't given your opinion on the whole Snyder Cut thing and what you feel about this being made.
What I feel about it being made? I mean, I liked Wes's point about how, like, there is the creative engine and there's also the business engine, and the average fan on the internet is out of touch with both of those things. Like, I think you've heard all of us offering wildly different viewpoints. All everyone wants is a movie for them, right? And
make my movie.
Something that I like is not going to be what somebody else likes. So you get enough people banding together saying, we want this. And people are just generally stupid and don't really know what they like and have horrible taste in things. So I think it's a recipe for disaster. If this is going to be the norm, and we're going to have, there's doing things in the service of fans, which makes sense. Like, we've seen shows resurrected or brought back after cancellation because fans were super passionate and petitioned to have things brought back or movies made or whatever, and that's all fine. But the DC universe seems like a really fucking weird place for that to happen to me. Like, this is not something that I think has and maybe that's just me being out of touch. I don't know if the DC universe has a particularly passionate fandom that rallies around all things DC related.
It is more guys my age and older, whereas Marvel is kind of being tied to Disney has the younger audience, and Marvel's fan base is actually much more toxic than DC's in general.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And they get riled up quicker, and where the DC guys are like, yeah, we like it or we don't quite often. And the Marvel guys are like, well, it's DC, so it's kind of terrible, and you got to watch Marvel, and like, I just like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like.
Mhm.
The whole Marvel set. The first Guardians movie was great. It stood on its own, and none of the other movies mattered at all to it. And then by the second one, they tried to tie it in a bit more.
Tied into everything.
Soft. So.
Well, I think one thing we can all agree on is that Nick Cage should come back and play Superman.
As long as he
100%.
grows his hair long, he has to grow the flow.
I want more Drive Angry movies. This is by far the best Ghost Rider movie there was.
Yeah.
I rewatched the first two Ghost Riders, or well, I guess there is only two, but they stink.
Yeah.
I think everybody
Yeah, those
forgot
do
those
not
got
hold up.
made.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Like Marvel went from the Fantastic Four movies were okay, Ghost Riders were pretty rough, and then even before that, like they were garbage, right? Marvel hadn't put a reasonable movie out. DC had the original Superman franchise and the Burton Batmans and all this stuff, and we're pounding it out and putting good movies out. Marvel's just like doing nothing. And then Iron Man finally kicked them in gear.
Yep.
The X-Men
right.
did.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to bounce. I've had a wonderful time chatting nerd shit with you fellow nerds. I learned a lot. I laughed. I loved.
I think this is longer than any Outrage Factory episode too. Like
It is, but we
went
also
for an
had
hour and a half. That's
we had
good.
more people.
I got some good suggestions for comics for you the next time. There, I picked up some good stuff later.
Yeah, hit me.
But indie stuff.
Hit me with them.
Yeah.
I'm always eager to hear that shit. And then we'll do this again. What we want to do? Marvel
Yeah, we want to
next?
do at least do Marvel. I think we should maybe do a Star Trek, probably. That's a big enough thing. And then
You can just talk about Star Trek 4 and the rest of them. Who cares?
talk about how Orville was better than Discovery. Everybody hates me for saying that.
I agree with you on that one too.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I had a lot of fun. I think we should do this
Yeah,
again.
that's fun.
Maybe we'll
All
get
right.
Marty in on the next one.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hopefully.
Since it
Thanks,
was his
Marty.
little
We
thing.
really appreciated it.
Yeah,
That was a wicked
Marty, you had
idea,
great
Marty.
idea.